Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. A lot of people have been asking if I can do a video on the death of James Brown, who died Christmas Day 2006, 10 years before George Michael would die on Christmas Day 2006. Between the two men, of course, James Brown, the much better musician. What I'm going to show you in this video is how their deaths on Christmas Day have a major synchronicity with one another. Let's begin with the day James Joseph Brown was born, May 3rd, 1933. May 3rd, as we write it in the US, 5/3. James Brown got his record deal in 53, 53 years before he would die on Christmas Day. And in 2016, we saw George Michael pass on Christmas at age 53. We'll get to the significance of 53. Anyhow, James Brown died at the age of 73 years old. On December 23rd, he became very ill. He was put in a hospital in Atlanta, and he died on Christmas Day. And what I'm wondering is if James Brown was given arsenic. Because when you're given arsenic, it seems like you come under an illness, like the flu. And that's why so many people who've died from arsenic, it's never been determined that that's how they actually die. People will just be, thought to have died from the flu or some other common illness. Happened so many times throughout history. Arsenic, number of sacrifice. Think about in the Bible how Jesus is crucified at 33. We're talking about a death on Christmas, the celebration of Jesus. They say Jesus was killed at 33. And I just want you to know that arsenic in gematria sums to 33. Arsenic's also the 33rd element on the periodic table, been used for thousands of years to purposefully kill people. There's even a song from 1983 by the band The Police about how easy it is to kill, and there's even a mention of, putting arsenic in somebody's drink, somebody's coffee. So anyway, James Brown dead at 73 on Christmas. They called James Brown the Godfather of Soul. In the language of gematria, Godfather of Soul sums to 73, just like sacrifice. In these ritualistic deaths and sacrifices, there's commonly a parallel to other entertainers in the industry. We're going to end up talking about Nas, the rapper who sampled James Brown in his song Get Down, who had just turned 33 years old not long before James Brown passed away. We're going to get to that. That could be speculation, but that's the way it works in this industry. Ritual murder for other people's success. So James Brown, his date of birth, date was 60 numerology. Number stamped on black people in a negative way represents the word nigger. We saw Moses Malone murdered at age 60 right after his teammate Daryl Dawkins was murdered. 213 days after Moses Malone was murdered at age 60, Kobe Bryant scored 60 to close out his career. 213 days later, Kobe finished his career with the Lakers from the 213 area code. 213, another number connected to the killing of young black men all throughout history. So anyhow, James Brown, born on a date with that number. The Christmas James Brown died, December 25th, 2006. That was a date with 63 numerology. The name Brown has gematria of 63. What's interesting is if you count every number 1 through 63 and add them together, it sums to 2016, the year George Michael passed on Christmas, with these parallels to James Brown. That Christmas day that James Brown passed, also a date with 43 numerology. R.I.P. has gematria 43. So does the name Nasir Jones, which is the name of Nas, the rapper. They called him the Godfather of Soul. We covered how that connects to 73. Godfather alone also has the connection to 42, the other number stamped on black people all throughout history that also represents the word nigger. Nigger has gematria 42 and 60. These numbers get coded again and again. From James Brown's death from his birthday, his 73rd birthday in 2006, to his death, that was 236 days later. Notice he was in his 33rd week of being 73, or a span of 237 days. Also a span of 237 days. In Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, there's a big deal made about the door number 237. And a lot of people speculate that it's a tribute to 42. Number very important to Freemasonry. 2 times 3 times 7, the digits of 237 equal 42. So he died 236 days after his birthday, but if you also count his birthday, it's a full span of 237 days. 2 times 3 times 7, 42. Godfather 42. You know, they like to call LeBron James the Godfather. Godfather 42. LeBron James 42. Again, this number stamped all over black men throughout history. I got a video coming on LeBron James and the Godfather. There's something being forecast for this season. But anyhow, with regards to passing on Christmas, as we've talked about many times before, you know, the death of JFK was foreshadowed Christmas Day 1961 on the Andy Griffith Show from 411 Elm Street. See that older work? But anyhow, Christmas has the gematria of 38, like death, like killing, like murder. James Brown began as the drummer before they realized he should be the front man. Drummer has that gematria of 38, and we've talked about it time and time again. So often these drummers of these bands just drop dead out of nowhere, and it seems to be because they have the fateful 38 death coding in gematria. RIP also shares the gematria of 38, like you put on a tombstone. As for him passing on Christmas Day, he was a gospel singer to begin, like so many musicians are. Gospel singer, you know, related to Christianity, has the gematria of 61, like Christmas, like Christian, like time, also like Jesus, like cross. Remember, just recently in Hollywood, there was a story about a statue emerging of Kanye West on a cross, and that statue was put up on a date with 61 numerology. I just want to show you this real quick. Jesus 61, cross 61. On a date with 61 numerology, in Hollywood, a statue emerged of Kanye West on the cross. Hollywood has gematria of 33, like the age Jesus was put on the cross. So does the name Kanye West, 33. You see? And if you do use the S exception, Kanye West is also 42. Number stamped all over black people. Also a number very relevant to the word Savior. And if you read the Bible and put the pieces of the puzzle together, it really does seem that Jesus Christ was likely a black man. If Jesus Christ ever walked the earth, a lot of clues point to him being a black man, not the white figure we so commonly see drawn. See my work on the TV show The 100, which has a lot to do with the history of this nation and Christianity, and the black man in that show who says the number 42 in a very specific episode where he's being presented as a Christ-like figure. Put out a recent video on that. The 100, main character, riddle of Jesus. The name James Brown, also in gematria. James Brown sums to 39. There's been a lot of articles written about how James Brown, 39, is the best Billboard chart artist of all time. Billboard 39. James Brown has nearly 100 Billboard hits. A lot of articles written, best Billboard musician. Remember, 39 books in the Old Testament. The Zionist Jews run the music recording industry. In the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. In the Bible, the Jews have dark skin. In this world, the Jewish people have light skin, and they seem to target and demonize black people more than any other. Think about it. Why would this be done? Has somebody's identity been stolen? Notice also, James Joseph Brown has the gematria of 67. We talk about this all the time. The number of blood sacrifice. Soul has gematria of 67. You know, gospel singer, soul singer. signing away your soul for fame to be in this entertainment industry. Blood Sacrifice 67. Also has the gematria of 86, like the word symbol, triangle, pyramid. James Brown, major symbol, one of the most famous musicians of all time. And speaking of which, if you didn't see my recent work on the death of Chuck Berry on March 18th, the date that is truly a tribute to Jesus Christ on the calendar, check that out. March 18th is the 77th day of the year. The word Christ equals 77. March 18th, as we write it in the US 3/18, in the New Testament, there is exactly 318 mentions of the return of Christ. This is a number that has to do with pi and cycles and circles. If you write Jesus Christ, it equals 151, and Chuck Berry died 151 days from his birthday on March 18th. So anyway, just think about this. Very famous black musicians, symbols, legends, dead on specific dates, Christmas, March 18th, that are tributes to Christ. Not a lot of people know about the March 18th connection, but that's absolutely what it is. In case you're not aware, the calendar we're on is named after the Pope. The Gregorian calendar, the calendar system we use, named after the Pope. The Catholic Church, Freemasonry, Zionism, these are all part of the New World Order agenda. And these people have built the calendar we use, the English language we use. They've edited the Bible the way we know it. It's all part of a big agenda and a scheme that is used against the people of the world unknowingly. So, he started his singing in Toccoa, Georgia on the 34th parallel. I noticed that town had the 33 gematria like soul music. On the Billboard charts, he had 16 number ones, but nearly 100, chart toppers. 16 number ones, 16 that connection to 33. And he passed on Christmas, the date of celebrating Jesus, who believedly was killed at age 33 on the cross, crucified. We're going to get to how that connects to Nas, the rapper, who was known as God's son. Also, the story is he got ill on December 23rd, 2006. That was a date with 61 numerology. We just talked about the significance of 61, and then he would die 2 days later on Christmas. The story is it was his dentist that suggested he go to a hospital. Are these stories even true? That's the problem in this world. Our media is corrupt. They give us false information all the time. Who knows what's true? This could all be a coded riddle that the dentist, said you better go get checked out. It looks like you're dying. Dentist has that gematria of 44 like kill. He was also in Georgia. Georgia has the gematria of 44. A little more than a year ago, I said, watch out for this past NFL season. Watch out for the Packers or Falcons making it to the Super Bowl because it's on a date with 44 numerology. Only Georgia and Wisconsin have 44 gematria. Then what happened? That was the NFC Championship, and the Falcons won with 44 points. And then they knocked down the freeway on purpose, all synced up with the Super Bowl. All these rituals, from murdering people to tearing down your freeway to rigging your sports games, it's all done by the numbers. Every last thing. Even blaming the freeway fire on a crackhead. What a joke. That whole part was made up by the numbers too. Here in the Wikipedia article, they specify Brown charted at least 96 entries on the Billboard Hot 100. His first was Please, 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 which has the gematria of 96. Remember, Freemason equals 96. The Divisors of 42 summed to 96. The Godfather, 42. A lot of interesting numbers up there. Remember, recording industry, it's always been controlled by Masonry. Notice also that he died at age 73, and his one gold album was in 73, The Payback. That's off the album that Nas sampled, and Nas was born in 73. Nas sampled the song Paying the Cost to Be the Boss. So anyhow, here it is. When James Brown died, Nas, the rapper, who goes by Godson, was 33 years old. And I suspect that James Brown, his ritual murder, had a lot of parallels, probably connected to many musicians. And I wasn't doing this research in 2006. I didn't discover gematria until 2013. So this is 7 years after this happened. So I'm just trying to go back and think. I mean, what would have been relevant? One of the first things I thought of was Nas, because I knew Nas was probably somewhere around 33 years old. And sure enough, when I looked, I said, yep, he was 33 when he died. No surprises there. But notice, Nasir Jones has gematria 43. He's currently 43 years old. We're in 2017 now. But remember, James Brown also died on a date with 43 numerology. From Nas's 33rd birthday to the date James Brown died was 102 days. And I want you to see something about the word magic. Magic has gematria of 33 and 102. And these rituals, they are occult magic. You know, it's about boosting your own power, your own status through someone else's death. And ultimately, what's behind that is greed, selfishness. You know, the thing that destroys the world. That's what's amazing to me about these psychopaths, you know, that they don't consider that. But I guess that's what being a sociopath is. Nasty Nas, you know, that Nas refers to himself as Nasty Nas in your area codes. Interesting that Nasty Nas has gematria of 103. It was also a span of 103 days from the death of James Brown. 103 is the 27th prime. Think about the 27 club. Brown equals 27. Last year, before Game 7 of the NBA Finals, we saw the actor Anton Yelchin. He was reportedly found dead in his driveway, crushed by his own car that was in neutral, crushed against the gate of his house. I mean, did that story make any sense? Isn't it amazing how the mainstream media can just report news like that and people just shrug their shoulders and go, oh, that's weird? How do you get crushed by your own car in neutral against the gate of your house? Anyway, what I pointed out before the game was played, I said this is another sign that the Cavs are about to win the NBA championship in Game 7, as I've been saying. 103 birth numerology is what Anton Yelchin had. 103 is the 27th prime. He died at age 27. I already knew that later that day the Cavs were playing their 103rd game of the season, and sure enough, LeBron James scored 27 in Game 7, getting the win by the numbers. Then 27 days later, Nate Thurmond dropped dead, who played for the Warriors and the Cavs and had the number 42, retired with both teams. In 2015, I said the NBA Finals would be Warriors and Cavs. In February, because LeBron had his season high of 42 against the Warriors on a specific date, 98 days before the start of the NBA Finals. If you can remember, 2015, the first Warriors-Cavs series, it went to overtime with a tie score of 98-98, 98 days after they played. You know how on the back of LeBron's body it says chosen with a number 1? If you write numbers in gematria, it doesn't make a difference. It only calculates letters. Chosen equals 98, but if you write out chosen 1, it's also 98. Just like National Basketball Association is 98. You see? Just trying to give you some more knowledge, just show you how these numbers pertain, and they're not arbitrary, and these rituals are done all the time, which is why I'm looking at Nasty Nas and his relation to the death of James Brown. James Brown, of course, passed in Atlanta on the 33rd parallel, while Nas was 33. ATL's got that 33 abbreviation. Charmaine, who follows my work and gives me a lot of good tips right after I posted this. For the record, if you guys don't read my blog, you should, because there's always lots of comments here. People will come in and fill up with really smart comments, catch a lot of things that I missed. So anytime you watch my videos, check out the blog post that I link and go read what other people discovered after I put out the work. There's always things I miss, and sometimes I miss things that are huge. But anyhow, she pointed out this article written about when James Brown saved the city of Boston from the Martin Luther King riots, April 5th, 1968. And maybe he did, or maybe this is all just media publicity. You know, Boston known as being a racist city. Anyway, the date of that was a date with 96 numerology. Freemason 96, the Divisors of 42 sum to 96, the Godfather, say Boston. It was a date with 33 numerology. And let's not forget, Boston's in Massachusetts, one of 3 states with the gematria of 33. Massachusetts. Also a date with 77 numerology. Power 77. It's a special number 77. Connects to Christ and more. But yeah, no doubt James Brown sacrificed on Christmas at 73 for being the godfather of soul. That's the piece you can really take away. Now let's jump to the George Michael thing. George Michael, born June 25th. Special date. That's the birthday of George Orwell, who wrote 1984. That's the anniversary of Purple Rain. That's the date Michael Jackson died. The same day Farrah Fawcett passed. Born on the 25th of June, dead 6 months later on the 25th of December, Christmas. I got a video on this, but I just want to point these things out. He died at 53. Again, James Brown, born on May 3rd, got his first record deal in 53, then died 53 years later on Christmas. George Michael, dead at 53 on Christmas. 53 is the 16th prime number, dead in 2016. He was born on a date with 113 numerology, number having to do with dishonesty. Makes you wonder if it's even his real birthday. The Christmas he died this past year was a date with 73 numerology. We saw James Brown die at age 73, 10 years earlier on a date with 63 numerology. So 10 years later it was a date with 73 numerology. You know, think about it, the parallels. It was also a date with 53 numerology this past year. Again, we covered the Christmas death angle. With regards to Christmas and Christ, it was the Thames Valley Police that reported his death, on Christmas. 77, like police officer, like police department. His death was also synced up with Carrie Fisher's. Go back and watch my work on the death of Carrie Fisher and her mother. A lot of rituals going on. Let's not all forget that George Michael sang Last Christmas, I Gave You My Heart. The Christmas before the year he died was a date with 72 numerology. 1 year earlier, one less number. He died on the one with 73. A year earlier, it was a date with 72 numerology. Last Christmas equals 72, just like George Michael. Last Christmas, I Gave You My Heart. You know the lyrics of that song? When I did this work last year, I didn't know reverse gematria yet. And check that out. See, this is what's nice to go back and look with the new knowledge. He got this award October 25th, 2016, then died 61 days later on Christmas. And here, I'll show you how this was when we did this research just last Christmas, not that long ago. I did not know about reverse gematria. Now that we know about reverse gematria, check this out. Christmas has the reverse reduction of 61. And 61 days after receiving that award, he dies on Christmas. You see how planned out it all is? It's what makes you wonder, are these people even really dying? James Brown at 73, I could see why they would off him, but George Michael at 53, that's not all that old. It's something else, Truth Seeker. The more we learn, the more we see. So anyway, we'll leave it right there. Until next time.